I've been talking to a lot of people recently about the holidays coming up and what it looks like to be young and sober and not boozing it up over Thanksgiving and Christmas, and how hard
Mhm.
that can be, but also what a relief it can be. And so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about kind of your tips and tricks for how to stay sober and also like sane and damn near happy, although that's lofty.
Yeah.
Um, because you are
Cool.
yeah, exactly. You are a mental health professional, you are sober, you are my friend, and I would just love to hear, first off, how you got to where you are today,
Mhm.
um, how you got sober, kind of what stands out in that journey, and then I'd love to talk about kind of your best tips and tricks for how to be sober and young-ish on the holidays.
Sure. I love that you call me young. I forget how
Young-ish.
I forget,
Yeah.
yeah, you're like we're youngish. Like I'm still full adult, but
Yeah.
um so I've been sober for almost 5 years now. It'll be 5 years in February. And I really just saw my life kind of heading into a path that I wasn't down with. I was just all those choices and all those things that I saw other people doing and choices I saw them making that I was like, I'll never do that. I will never get accidentally drunk. Like I was doing all those things. And
Yeah.
I found myself just like my standards were lowering so quickly. And finally, I just had this wake up call and I was like, what are we doing here? And like, why do we think this is okay? And it was hard because I had come so close to consequences,
Mm.
but I never really had any of those consequences, right? Like I had come so close to car accidents, never had a car accident when I was drinking. I mean, I never really got close to losing my job, but should I have?
Who knows? Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But like, none of those things ever happened. And so it was really just this moment of self-awareness and clarity where I was like, what's happening? And by the way, it was the first time I realized I am unhappy. And
Mm.
I had always been such a happy and outgoing person. And finally it was like, no, that's a lie. I'm lying to everybody. And it's funny because I got sober in February and it was right around November where all that stuff started to happen. And like early November. And so I just think back to those times and I think back to how tough holidays are because I think holidays are tough for everybody, sober, not sober, needing to get sober, and everywhere in between,
Yeah.
because there's so many expectations on holidays.
Yeah.
Whether it's Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, Valentine's Day, birthdays, anniversaries, there's so many expectations. And 9 times out of 10, those expectations aren't going to be met. And then you're left the day after or the day of being like, well, I really wanted the pony and I didn't get the pony. And
Yeah.
and you were never gonna get the pony. And in your brain, you told yourself, maybe they're hiding the pony out back. They said they had to run an errand. Are they going to get the pony?
Yeah.
And I'm it's you're never gonna get the pony. And that's hard for people.
But you're gonna see someone on Instagram that got a pony.
Someone got the pony.
Someone got the pony. Yeah.
It's kind of like when oh, there was this one time with a bunch of girlfriends and we were all like sitting around dinner, back when people used to go to dinner.
Yeah.
And
What was that?
like who did that?
Yeah.
And one of our friends was about to go to the beach with her boyfriend. And there's like 5 or 6 of us at the table and they were all like, oh, do you think he's gonna propose? And I was like, why did you say that? Why did you say that? Because now the whole time she's going to be thinking he's going to propose. And
Yeah.
if he doesn't propose, this beautiful beach vacation that she just spent all this money on and took time off of work and planned and got the blowout and the manicure and the pedicure and the clothes and whatever,
Oh my gosh.
she's going to be miserable
Yeah.
because every dinner she's going to be like, this is my right hand, and this is not an engagement ring, but
Yeah.
she's gonna be like, is it
Right.
gonna happen? Is it gonna happen today? And then she's gonna be pissed at him the whole flight back when he
Right.
didn't propose, right?
Right.
And those friends at the dinner table are in my head all the time.
Yeah.
Is this it? Is this gonna be the time? Every time I walk into church, are you gonna meet your soulmate today? Like
Yeah.
every no, I'm
Yeah.
not. It's not gonna happen. So I think whether you're sober or not, holidays can be tough because of expectations. And you know, one of the hardest things to do and the easiest things to say is just keep your expectations realistic.
Yeah.
And I think when I was drinking, and considerable amount of time after, my expectations were just so high, and I never felt like I met them. And that last few months of drinking was, I didn't go to treatment. I was in some pretty significant counseling because I was on antidepressants. I had been on antidepressants since anti-anxiety medication,
Hmm.
since I was 14 and I was 26. So a lot of my life I had been on medication, and they tell you not to drink on that medication, and I just didn't care. And it go figure, my medication wasn't working anymore.
Yeah.
And so I initially went to counseling because I was like, my medication's not working anymore. I'm having anxiety attacks. I'm feeling depressed. I'm feeling tired all the time. Um, I'm unhappy. And I think I need new medication. And my psychiatrist, who I saw on Skype because it was my psychiatrist from high school in New Jersey, where I grew up, for $415 for a 15-minute session,
Oh my God.
told me, I'm not prescribing you
Mm.
any new medication. I'm not authorizing any refills unless you stop drinking. And that person had known me since I was 14, when I was going through anxiety and eating disorder and all of those things in high school. And she'd known me since then. And for her to say that, I was like, well, first of all, she said, how much are you drinking? And it was the first time I had been honest and said too much.
Mm.
The very first time. And I was in a conference room in the office of my ad agency where I worked, my 8-person office, in the conference room on Skype, telling her this. And that was a big low for me. Like, that was a big low point for me, where I was like, I can't lie anymore, and I can't pretend like it's okay. Um, and if I had skipped another half a beat, I would have lied.
Yeah.
I would not have been honest. Something in me said, you need to be honest right now. And that kind of kickstarted the whole thing for me. Um, working with a counselor and trying really hard, and her patience with me. Oh my gosh, that woman, she's amazing. She had so much patience with me to just let me try all these different things and fail and put my feet down and say, I'm not an AA person. I'm not that person. Those aren't my people. I'm not doing it. And then finally, one day I just found myself at work Googling, like, where are AA meetings, and going. And, it was different. It was different then. She knew, and I knew I had to kind of come to it in my own time.
Mm.
Um, I was still trying to quit drinking and failing at quitting drinking, and saying I will only have 2 drinks and then having 7, and all those things. And had I not gone through those experiences, I probably wouldn't believe that I had an alcohol problem, because I wasn't drinking every day. I wasn't drinking at home by myself, really. Like, I had wine in my house, but it was weird. I would drink like 1 glass of wine at home and then kind of be done. And not even every night. But when I went out, if I went out with the intention, with friends, with the intention of like, I'm going to have 1 glass of wine and go home, it never worked. Or I'm going to go out and I'm just not going to drink tonight, it never worked. I'm going to go on vacation with my family and I'm going to have 2 beers or 2 drinks at a time and then move on. It never worked. And had I not had those experiences today, 5 years later, I would probably think to myself, well, you probably don't have an alcohol problem, but I know that once I start, I can't stop and I can't regulate. And um, I don't need, I don't want to start again. Holidays are so hard.
Yeah.
There's so many different triggers. Um, I'm blessed with a wonderful family that I genuinely enjoy being around, holidays or not. But I know that's not the case for everyone. And families can be really triggering. I know families' different relationships with alcohol can be so triggering. Um, it's just hard. And just recognizing, I think one of the most important things is just recognize like maybe my holiday experience, whether whatever holiday it is, isn't going to be that picture perfect Instagram holiday that everyone else is having. And that's okay.
Everyone else is having.
Right.
Yeah, of
A
course.
stage photograph,
Yep.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Totally. You're not going
And
to get
it,
the pony.
no, you're not going to get the pony. And I want the pony.
I
But
know.
I'm not going to get the pony. And,
No.
you know, it's been hard for me because I've wanted, and, you know, my pony has been different things in the past 5 years. It's been the job, it's been the time management, it's been the house, it's been the husband, it's been the kids. And I still really want all those things. If I'm being really honest, I still really badly want all of those things. But God doesn't, God, that's not God's plan for me right now.
Yeah.
And am I in acceptance of that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? Absolutely not. Do I get really upset with God and think, like, why are you doing this to me? What are you trying to teach me? Have I not learned it yet? It's been long enough. I feel like I've learned this. I feel like it's time for me to get that carrot that I've been working towards, and it's just not my time. And will it ever be my time? I don't know. Maybe I don't know. That's not for me to know. But um, you know, maybe all the different things that I've been wanting, I'm just kind of rambling here, but maybe all the things that I've wanted aren't really what I've wanted after all.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get that. I get that a lot. And I think that the expectations and those desires um have played a big part in my life as well, because I'm like, I expect every romance to be like The Notebook, and I expect every party to be like the parties I see on TV, where it's like the 10-second clip with the best music and you don't see anyone sick afterwards, you don't see any drama.
And you don't have to
Like,
pay for
of course, yes, no, you, of course. And I can get that in my head, like the fairy tale of what it's going to be like, and then the holiday happens or the party happens and it's just normal. Like, it's not the highest high. And I can find myself really disappointed in that. But now in sobriety, I realize that, I'm not artificially ramping up my night, but it's also not crashing the way that it used to. Like, I remember bringing like a magnum bottle of Chandon champagne to Christmas and being like, why doesn't everyone want to drink? It's 10 a.m. Like, why would you not want to drink this? And it's like, yeah, it's not going to be like the feelings you had when you had those first two glasses and you were just like, oh, the world is perfect. But it's also not going to be after your eighth when it, like, all the shit is hitting the fan.
it. Hmm.
It's gonna be that plateau, and that's okay. It's gonna have like little ups and downs, but what is that saying where it's not like the roller coaster, it's like the lasagna noodle.
I like
Where it's like you're not gonna have the high highs, but you're also probably not gonna have the low lows.
Right.
And I'm going to be actually able to engage with my friends and family in a way that won't lead to some huge emotional hangover afterwards.
Right.
I won't owe anyone an apology, most likely. I still
Right.
might, but probably won't. Um, and those weren't part of the reality when I was drinking.
No. And
That just wasn't a thing.
no, no. And it's really hard because I remember my I remember my first holidays. My my cousin's wedding. I was a nightmare at my cousin's wedding. Some people recognized it, other people didn't recognize it, but I carry around a lot of shame from the way I behaved. And that shame really stuck with me. My cousin's a couple of different weddings, actually. Like my cousin's wedding, one of my best friend's weddings, I still carried a lot of shame in the way that I behaved. And, I got mine in the end because I had like a 48-hour hangover from each of those and just like
Yep.
had to go and like the however many $100 bar tab and like all the things that I just had to like chip away at. But that first holiday after where I wasn't drinking
Mhm.
was hard for me. And or the first time I saw those people in like a holiday or family or party setting, because you feel like you have to go back and explain yourself, or you feel like you have to go
Mhm.
back and apologize. And amends are part of the process, but holidays might not be the right time. And like big family
Right.
gatherings, probably not the right time to have
Yeah.
those conversations. And so, maybe something that people who are in that situation, it's your first holiday sober or your, first XYZ sober. It's just live your truth, your new truth, and be it. And, if people would like to have a conversation with you about it, you can maybe say, like, I would love to have that conversation with you next week, but I really would think we should enjoy our holiday with our family today, or whatever. But, just show that you're a different person, show that you have changed, show that you've moved on, show that you've put in the work, that you're doing it. And um, that will come through. And I like your analogy with the lasagna noodle, because a lasagna noodle is still not perfect. And I think a lot
Mm-mm.
of people have this expectation too that like when you get sober, everything's going to be perfect and you're going to get the job and you're going to get the guy and you're going to have the kids in the house and all the things, and nothing bad's ever going to happen to you. And you and I both know from personal experience that's just not true.
Right.
And so keeping that in mind, that like the first sign of a bad thing is not like, well, this sobriety thing isn't it.
Right. Yeah. No, totally. I relate a lot. And my, I was lucky that I got sober. My sobriety date is in August. And so I had a little bit of ramp up to when the holidays happened and I actually had to see people.
Mhm.
Um, but I think the relief that I felt no longer having to drink or having to choose how to moderate or what's too many, and like the obsession was gone when I just took it all off the table,
Mhm.
because I'm just not going to drink. and
Mhm.
and through obviously working the 12 steps and being a part of a 12-step program, that was way easier for me in that moment of adrenaline, like you're newly sober, then trying to moderate, like how many should you have, or should you, I'm almost on the edge, like should I go and just say screw it and do it. um it was way easier for me to enjoy myself when I realized, oh, this is better for everyone
Mhm.
if I don't drink. And I am so much more at peace not thinking about how to moderate and inevitably how to fail at moderation.
Mhm.
I'm just taking it completely off the table. I think that relief was very apparent to people in my first few holidays. But I
Yeah.
mean, I know we're coming up on the holiday season right now of like Thanksgiving and Christmas, but and Hanukkah and all, all the New Year's. And but in those first few times, like my holidays was like a bachelorette party to Mexico within my first 30 days of being sober.
Viva Mexico. Like,
Viva Mexico and tequila and mas. Like
yeah.
it was brutal because I was
Mhm.
still in that phase where like I really wanted to be a part of it. But the
Mhm.
more you're sober in those big party environments, or at least for me, I'll speak from my own experience, the more I was sober in those big environments, the more I realized that if people were getting drunk, they were intentionally getting drunk.
Yeah.
I would get drunk on accident. Like
100%.
where I walk in and be like, I'm gonna just moderate and just have my little bottle of wine here. And then all the wine would be gone. And I'd be like, when are we going to get more?
Right.
And they were either, if people were getting sloppy, it was because they chose to, because they wanted to. And that
And
was
you can
just,
really see the differences between the
yeah.
way we drank and they did.
Hmm. Oh, yeah. And it was like now my husband's what we call a normie, like a normal drinker. And it's bizarre. I don't get it at all. But I'll watch him at those parties and he will maybe, I don't know, have one, maybe set it down. No, I'm like, that thing was glued to my hand and I was
Mhm.
chugging.
Mhm.
Like there was,
And and when it got halfway, I was recycling through to get another one
of
because
course,
God forbid.
of course.
Yeah.
And he's just like, well, I guess I'll set it down and I don't know, you want to go? I'm just like, no, you chug the drink before you go. Like, why would you just leave it there? And the more I'm sober and in those situations and see how different people's thinking is around drinking than mine was, I'm like, oh, that's why you can still drink and I don't have any business drinking
Mhm.
because this whole party would be empty right now
Yeah.
if I had my way.
Well, and yeah, I love what you said about like the relief when the decision is off the table because
Hmm.
I just knowing you for I mean, I cannot believe we've known each other for like almost 5 years at this
Yeah.
point. It's wild to me. But we are people who can very much live in gray area and
Hmm.
we are compassionate people who can see both sides of stories and arguments and perspectives and things like that. And this is one area of my life, and I won't speak for you, but I know for me, I can't live in the gray.
Right.
I tried to live in the gray. I can't live in the gray. It's too stressful.
Yep.
I am too preoccupied about it. I fail in the gray area. I
Mm.
always flip one side or the other. And I think what really got to me was that constant failure in the last few months of my drinking. It was like that constant failure of like, I tried and I failed, and I tried and I failed. And the definition of insanity is like
Mhm.
trying the same things and expecting different outcomes.
Mhm.
And I was driving myself insane thinking that I could continue to moderate my drinking. And when I finally realized I couldn't, and I was just like, I'm not doing that anymore. I am done, tapped out. It was this huge relief.
Yeah.
That's not to say I didn't have to like plan ahead and figure things out and have alternatives and things like that. But still, when I get asked if I want to drink and I don't have to go through that like mental gymnastics of
Mm.
if I have this one now, can like I haven't eaten today, what's this gonna do? I don't have to go through that.
Yeah.
And that's such a weight lifted off,
Mhm.
you know? And I think it's unrealistic for us to say that happens to everybody immediately. Not true. But at some point, that relief sets in and that freedom of I'm not bound by that mental exercise anymore of how I'm going to hide this. What am I going to do? I had this already, so I should do this. Or and people who are drug addicts or who like, I had this to drink, so I need this other substance,
Mm.
or, I need, or I'm not, my stash is low. I need to get this. When you're free from that, when your brain energy is released from that, there's so many other things you can do with that space.
Yeah. Like have a meaningful conversation with the people in front of you
Oh,
and
and like do your job. Like the number of
yeah.
times I so when
Yep.
I got sober, I worked in advertising where it's like low key approved to drink at lunch or
Mhm.
like crack a beer at 4, and that that's approved. But what I was doing was like really not approved. And I'm not saying I was drinking at lunch or drinking at work every day, but I was definitely finding any opportunity we could find to incorporate alcohol into our birthday celebrations, our fantasy football draft,
Yes.
our Fridays, our everything. And so much of my time at work was spent being like, well, okay, who's in the office today? If I go to lunch and with this person and we get margaritas at lunch, we can come back to the office, but I have this meeting. And it's like, so much planning.
It's so
And
much planning.
I could have been a way better employee. And now I'm a teacher and that's like really off the table, which is great. And I know that, oh my gosh, the number of times I went to work hungover when I was drinking and I was working in advertising because I could truly just zone out staring at a screen and with headphones
Mhm.
in, or go into a conference room and be like, I have a call, and do nothing.
Yeah.
I could do that for 2 hours at a time any day of the week.
Yeah.
I have 30 tiny humans who are staring at me like, entertain me, teach me something
I don't know
all
how you do that. That
day,
stresses me out.
asking me a zillion and a half questions every hour. It's just a reminder that that's not an option anymore. Like
Yeah.
going to my job now hungover sounds like my actual worst nightmare.
Hmm.
Where would I go throw up? Like, what do I tell the kids?
Yeah.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Tyler's got to go puke. Be right back.
BRB. Yeah. Yeah.
No. I got very
Totally.
off topic, but that's
But it's important.
it's real.
Yeah. It's your experience. Okay. So if someone was going to Thanksgiving, which is tomorrow when we're recording this,
Mhm.
what would be like your top few suggestions for them if they are newly sober or not drinking and are maybe not excited about it? Like, let's say they haven't, like when we say we're relieved, they're like, I don't get it. I'm still
Not there
miserable.
yet. Okay.
What would your top piece of advice be? Top few.
I always like to bring something fun for me to drink that is non-alcoholic. So um, I have Topo Chico, and I
Always.
always have Topo Chico. Um, if it's like more of a part, I don't know what your family's doing on Thanksgiving, but mine's pretty low key. We're just watching football and like hanging out with kids.
Yeah.
Um, so I have Topo Chico and like LaCroix and all that kind of stuff. I always keep like in the fall, winter, holiday time, I always keep like a case in my car. Um,
Mm,
so I can just like throw a few in my purse before I go in somewhere. It's not anybody else's. Here's my thought. If they're coming over to my house for Thanksgiving, I will tell them, bring what you would like to drink because I have a sober home and I do not keep alcohol in my house. I live alone. There's no reason for me to have alcohol in my house. If they
right.
want to bring alcohol, I'm fine for them to bring alcohol, but it's not my job to supply that for them.
Right.
Just like it's not their job to supply non-alcoholic options for me. It's so nice and so appreciated when they do. It makes my heart flutter, but it
Mm-hmm.
is not their responsibility to have all sorts of different options for me.
Right.
So I bring my own something to drink. Um, you know, my one of my friend's dad, who is one who helped me get sober initially, he talks about the drunk wave, and when the drunk wave hits, we go.
Yeah.
And so I think just talking to your family about, I might just leave
When
when.
things get rowdy,
Mhm. And
you
being
might
okay
want.
with that. And I can almost guarantee you're not going to miss anything exciting. And just like being free to go. So having your own transportation or Uber or Lyft or whatever is safe in your community right now with like COVID restrictions and things like that. I always drive myself. If I'm driving anyone else, I say I will get you there, but I will not get you home.
Yeah.
I need to be able to leave whenever I want to leave. And this is something I told my sponsee recently. She was going to a event, and I just said, you know, if you're feeling triggered and you're feeling insecure about it, and no one else knows that you're not drinking, just tell one person.
Mm-hmm.
Just say, you know, I'm not drinking right now, and it's been a little bit hard for me. Can you help me?
Yeah.
And you don't have to tell them you're an alcoholic. You don't have to tell them your whole story. Just say, I'm trying really hard not to drink right now and I'm struggling. Could you help me?
Mm.
At that point, whether they're watching you or not, they might be. And your perception is, okay, someone else knows I'm not supposed to be drinking. It's like when I go to the gas station or when I go anywhere and there's alcohol there, like it would be so easy for me to buy booze. I
Mm-hmm.
don't have a stamp on my forehead or on my driver's license that says she's an alcoholic, don't sell to her.
Yeah.
And I'm never tempted. But sometimes I wish I had that stamp where it's just like that help and accountability. So just telling one other person, maybe your whole family knows, maybe your whole family doesn't know and they're not going to recognize, but maybe just saying to like your sister-in-law, that's what I did. It was a
Yeah.
Super Bowl party and I wasn't drinking. And I just said to my sister-in-law, I'm really trying not to drink right now and I'm struggling. Can you help me? And it works. So, um, you know, this too shall pass.
Yeah.
It will get better. Set yourself up for success in a lot of ways by, planning ahead.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah, I just put together like a list of like my top 10
Mhm.
suggested ways, and you covered a lot of them, which is reassuring to me that, I'm not too far off base. But
What would
having
you
a
say?
game, I mean, having a game plan, having your own car, telling someone, bringing your own booze, like bringing your own non-booze, please don't bring your own booze. Bringing your own drink has been really, really helpful for me in getting through those parties where I'm like, this might be a little bit of white knuckling. Like I might have a problem here. Um, the level setting expectations that we
Mhm.
talked about in the beginning of the conversation is a huge help to me. If I can just understand that it's not going to be as high, but it might not be as low, and it's just going to be that little lasagna wave, I'm much more likely to have a good time because
Mhm.
I'm not like waiting for it to get really fun or really rowdy. And then if it does get just genuinely fun, then I'm pleasantly surprised.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, like taking your own car, having your own drink. I mean, I personally, if I'm in a situation where I don't know a bunch of people, or it's a work function and I don't really feel comfortable telling people that I'm not drinking, having like a mocktail or a
Mhm.
faux drink has been really helpful for me, because most of the time people won't be like, it looks like a vodka soda, but is it a vodka soda?
Mhm.
Like, no, they don't need to know that it's just like
Sniff it.
like soda water, or a Topo Chico,
Right.
or like I'll use like one of those small glasses and put ice in it, and then put like Diet Coke in there, and then they just might
Sprinkle
think
on
I'm
ice.
drink. Yeah, exactly, and they don't know the difference. um and if they do, then I don't know,
They're
maybe they need.
probably one of us.
Yeah, I was about to say they
Or
might need
should
to look
be.
at themselves if they do. um but those have been really, really helpful in making sure that I have a chance to actually enjoy the party. The last one that I was thinking of is get in pictures, because, and one of my friends suggested this before the bachelorette party that I mentioned, because
Mhm.
she was like, I have, I know your friends, they are going to get rowdy and they're probably not going to remember the tail end of the night. So get in pictures, like be like, hey guys, let's take a picture, or like let's take a selfie, or whatever you end up doing, so that you're in those lasting memories. So that if someone, Instagrams something, it's not like, where was Amanda? Oh, she was being lame and went home early. It was like,
Right.
oh no, she was right there,
Hmm.
and it doesn't, like, they won't know if the picture was like on Instagram. I don't know if it was taken the early in the night or late in the night.
Right.
It just, as long as it's been helpful to me to
Hmm.
make sure that I am in some sort of picture or documentation of the night, so that when people look back, I'm not just absent from those memories.
Right.
I'm a part of them. And when they start to lose their memory, I just, like the drunk wave, I just go home.
Yep.
But yeah,
And
those have been really
they're not gonna
helpful.
watch that happen. They're not gonna, they
They don't
probably won't
care.
know when you left.
No, they don't care.
They don't care.
They don't care.
The other thing, do you know who Melissa Urban is?
Mm-mm.
She started Whole30,
Oh,
um,
okay.
and she's been in recovery for lots of years. Um, and I think a lot of people don't know what to say,
Mm.
especially if it's your first holiday with your family. And
Yeah, you just break out with like, I think I might be an alcoholic, but who
right,
knows?
which is like totally my style and
Yeah.
like who I am, but not everyone's an oversharer like
Mm.
that. And so she just says, I'm not drinking right now. And, you know, if people would like to follow up with questions, that line is the answer to every question. I'm just not drinking right now. Why?
I'm
I'm
just
just
not
not
drinking.
drinking right now.
Yeah.
Is it for health reasons? I'm just not drinking right now.
Yeah.
Are you pregnant? I'm just not drinking right now.
Yeah.
Like, it really does solve everything. How long are you not drinking? I'm just not drinking right now. And I've been just not drinking right now for almost 5 years.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you know, that it is what it is. And I just think that's such a powerful message. And she's such a great person to follow on Instagram because
Mm.
she lives her life. And yeah,
I'm gonna have to give her a follow. What was her name again? Melissa
Melissa
Urban?
Urban.
Okay.
She also does this thing where like people who follow her on Instagram submit questions and that like they have a hard that they have a hard time responding to with as far as like boundaries. And she'll do like a green, yellow, and a red response. Like a green is like the kindest, gentlest approach. Yellow is like in between, and red is basically like F off.
Yeah.
Like stop asking me this question. And it's
I love
awesome.
that.
I know, I love it too. I follow them and I'm like, oh, that's great advice. Like, especially around COVID and drinking and holidays and boundaries. It's like those boundaries are so important. That's
Yeah.
another.
And so hard to set. I know. But that's probably a topic for a different day.
Yeah, probably. I'll put that on my list.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you so much for hopping on and chatting with me. I hope we can do this again. And because I love talking to you. You're hysterical. And we didn't even get into anything funny today, but I love you and I love talking to you. And I'm so grateful that we're doing this thing together, because um, the holidays, like you said, are hard, but they're easier when you're not a drunken mess.
Amen, sister. And maybe another tip is just always have someone you can call.
Yeah.
And I know that tomorrow, if I'm having trouble, I can call or text Amanda, you, and
Mm-hmm.
our other, little cohort of sober friends, and
Yeah.
I can text any of you or the group, and someone will respond, and then I won't feel alone.
Yeah.
So,
It's
uh,
huge
you
to know
know,
that other people are doing it too.
find your people, and I'm so glad you're one of mine.
Me too. Okay. Well, we'll talk soon. I love
Okay.
you.
Love you, girl.